We bring you the headlines each weekday morning at patspapers.com, the top stories and the most interesting stories from across the U.S. Here's what we have on this Thursday.
It was tea time across the country yesterday. Americans gathered to take part in a conservative movement to protest taxes and government spending. One of the strongest showings was this one in Nashville, as reported in the Tennessean. Nearly 3,000 people gathered outside the state capitol there. The Charlotte Sun in Florida, on its front page, says protesters in Venice were complaining about anything and everything. According to tax documents released by the White House yesterday, the Obamas earned $2.7 million last year. The New York Daily News notes they spent $47,000 of that on their daughter's private schooling. The paper notes that most of the couple's income did come from book royalties. Would you drive differently if you knew you were next to a teenager? A decision by New Jersey Governor John Corzine says that they'll have to put stickers on the cars of young drivers. The story is getting picked up in a lot of places today, including the local paper, the Morris County Daily Record. Now, sometimes it pays to own a clunker. The Houston Chronicle writes that federal lawmakers are looking to rid America's highways of gas guzzlers, and they can turn to Texas for a Cash for Clunkers program that has replaced more than 15,000 old vehicles. A push for solar energy in Nevada is creating a rift between state and local officials there. The Las Vegas Sun reporting on a bill that proposes to cut property taxes by 75% for those homes and businesses that are able to make solar power their primary source. United, the latest airline to crack down on hefty passengers. The Chicago-based carrier announced that it will start charging double to flyers who can't fit into a single seat. They could also be bumped from flights. According to the report in the Tribune, St. Paul Pioneer Press says, lest there be any doubt, Republican Norm Coleman will absolutely, definitely appeal. This referring to this story that won't end, the court decision that has declared Al Franken the winner in Minnesota's U.S. Senate seat. An editorial in the New York Times today says simply, it's over, Norm, okay? The New York Times also has some advice this morning for fixing squeaky floorboards. In the home section, there are tips such as try putting a few nails in place to stop the board from squeaking. Probably the least helpful tip, maybe the realistic one, it says learn to live with it. Finally, a couple of stories in the Washington Post. It was the Scott heard round the world. Sarah Boyle's a frumpy, unemployed 47-year-old Scottish spinster who wowed viewers on Britain's Got Talent with her rendition of I Dreamed a Dream from the musical Les Miserables. And then she went out and drew an audience of nearly 10 million on YouTube. Finally, perhaps the world's most overdue book has been returned after 52,858 days. That's 145 years. A book that was stolen soon after the Civil War ended is back on the shelves at a Virginia library.
I wish we had more time, but that would defeat our purpose for being here, which is to thin it out so you don't have to. You'll find links to all these stories at patspapers.com.